Good Monday morning to you, and welcome to episode 21. Wow, just moving along this year. Well, I think some of these episodes are going to start to get a little bit shorter because basically the garden is now set up, and it's just a matter of monitoring and hopefully in a month or two harvesting and starting to enjoy. So yeah, I just wanted to check in on the garden to start with. Salad greens are starting to look more like salad greens. Bean plant is still alive if you've been following the saga. This thing's been knocked over 3 times by the same critter and is now still alive. I don't understand how, but I'm not complaining. Let's see, we've got the dill's definitely getting bigger here. And what did I... Oh, okay. And you can see there's actually it looks like there's 2 cucumber plants right next to each other. And I forgot that these were here. So let me get these out of the way for a moment. Put this whole thing back. Oops. Well, something for a time lapse. We can just watch him go. Yeah, this one's not quite as developed, but doing good. Up here, I mean, this is just crazy. I'm not sure what that plant is yet. Let's see if anything else is growing in here. Oop, looks like we've got a sprout. And that should be the straight neck squash. There should also be some why can't I remember? Spinach in there. Over here we've got this one. I mean, I have a feeling this is the patty pan for this year. It's the 8-ball squash. There's 2 of them right next to each other. That's why there's so much foliage. There's been a couple of flowers on there already. That is the, oops, that's an orange rolling away. That is the onion flower I pulled off camera yesterday or the day before. Just I wanted to figure out how to harvest and I just never got to it. Trying to harvest the seeds. So that's going to be one more thing for me to figure out. Let's see what else we've got here. We've got a marigold growing in the back, and it looks like we got the patty pan actually growing here. That's good. I do not yet see the yard-long beans, but I know we've got some. Let's go look in the back. And yeah, I've got to get this a little bit more under control before it crowds out the tomatoes. But we've got the ooh, yeah, you can see it's growing through the fence here. I got to deal with that. But tomatoes are looking healthy, despite they had some problems earlier. But I think we're doing good. They're growing close to each other. I've got a bunch of flowers. Not a whole lot for actual fruit showing up yet. Ooh, look at that. We got a flower on the pepper plant. Which one was this? This was, oh yeah, this is the poblano. So I'm happy with that. I do not see the new sprouts in the cherry pick yet. That's the old plant in there, and it looks like it's drying up. But I'm not giving up. Well, we got a rose petal in here. This is the backup nursery, and like I said, we have some things that have sprouted. Another rose petal. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and we picked some of the roses and made bouquets. Let's see, we've got the patty pan. We've got all 3 of them have sprouted. We've got, wow, I really need to redo these labels, so I'm going to have to go back to old video, but basically everything in that box is sprouted. And it's looking like half of what's in this box is sprouted. At least 2 of them have. Yeah, I'm a little lost right now. Sorry about that. I'm trying to remember what's what. So, and then as far as the beans I had planted in the back, I've got one of them has sprouted. The other one, oh, I was about to say it hasn't, but I can see it. It's starting to sprout. So we're doing good on that. Do we have anything here? We have a tiny little something in there. I'm hoping that that's another pepper. I'm trying to remember what I put in here now. I think this was supposed to be the Nikita hybrid. And then this is another tomato plant, if you haven't been watching. And if you look in there, hopefully that'll come through. There's some tiny little pea-sized tomatoes, and I can see one of them starting to kind of go yellow a little bit, which means eventually it's going to turn red. We'll have some spoon tomatoes. That'll be interesting. So that's basically the update on the garden. I'm going to go pick the last few oranges, which you can barely see off that tree, and squeeze them so Dad can have his orange juice in the morning. That's it for today. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Good windy Wednesday to you. It's been a couple of days. I haven't really done much of an update, and I think it's about time we take a look at the garden. Just been doing stuff off camera and inside, and yeah, all of that. So let's take a look at the... Okay, lots and lots of bugs. Not really what I wanted. I threw the orange peels in there, and I think that's what did it. So I'm going to have to stir that up a bit and make sure it's got moisture. But let's look at the garden. We'll let the bugs fly away. Salad greens are looking good. Bean plants still alive. The cucumbers getting a little bit bigger, and the dill a little bit bigger. I may end up kind of disassembling this slightly and doing kind of that thing with it. I got to figure that one out. Wow. I don't think I've ever had Swiss chard really grow this well. This is second year, however, so chives I don't really care for, but other people do, and they're doing good. Yeah, other salad plant are doing good. Nothing seems to be torn up right now. Oh, check it out. We have another squash flower, and let's see if I can find it. I had noticed yesterday, oh boy, I'm going to have trouble getting a shot in there. Hopefully that'll get you in there. You can see a tiny little fruit starting on there. So that was one of the previous flowers, and that didn't take very long for it to get started. That's a good thing. Still trying to figure this one out. Let's see. I only have something kind of growing in there that might not look like grass. So maybe that's the spinach. Oh, there we go. Straight neck squash in the back. Hopefully you can see that. Let's see how we're doing over here where the patty pan's supposed to be growing. And it is. All right. That's progress. We're doing good here. Let's check out the back. Okay, once again, I forgot about the third level. And I want to come up here because I just noticed something. Okay, still nothing growing in that first bag, but we're doing good otherwise. And I just noticed from down below, let's see if I can get that on camera. Where did it go? Huh? Up there? Yeah, hopefully you can see I got tomatoes starting to grow. These are the celebrities. So we'll see how that works out. Let's look at the bean plants. Sorry, the pepper plants. And I think we've got, yep, we got a bell pepper growing. There we go. All right. The plumeria is coming back to life. So we're doing good up here. I got a couple of weeds. I still got to get up here. But one thing at a time. And one more I just noticed. Marigolds are starting to pop up here. So that's a good thing. Hopefully they'll grow fast enough to be helpful. I really do need to deal with the nasturtium here. But let's see if we've got signs of fruit on any other. Nothing here. I am honestly looking for the first time in a few days, so kind of learning with you. I am not spotting any more fruit here, but look, we got a flower on the poblano. Actually, we got 1, 2, 3 at least, and I can see a couple others that are just about to start. So that's good. Nothing yet in the cherry pick. Let's look at the nursery. We've got, yep, both bean plants have now popped. Everything in this box has popped. And almost everything here is popped, but you know what? Actually, that is dill. I really need to take care of the labeling on these. I need to go back to the video where I put it all back together and set it all up and see what I find and fix those labels. I gotta really try and get that done today. Then we've got the spoon tomatoes. Let's just see if they're changing color. Well, I can barely see them. I don't know if you can see better than I can. Oh, sorry. I kind of left you with just the label. Hey, I can see one in the back there. Just a little bit of red. Let's see. Am I going to be able to dig that one out? Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it for the moment and harvest it a little bit later. It's going to be kind of hard to split with anybody. But, hey, things are doing reasonably well. I have seen the fox come back. Now, that's an unusual statement because usually in the hills here we get coyotes and deer. We don't see a lot of fox, or at least I haven't been. But even I think last night I saw a fox just suddenly jump down off a wall and run along here. And then pretty much just went back up into here, and later I found him out in the cul-de-sac. So he was only here for literally for like a minute. Just kind of blew through here. I don't know how he got in because we put up the hardware cloth to kind of block the fence, but maybe there's another way to get through, or maybe he was just that skinny, or she. So anyway, I'm a happy camper. I think that's it for today. We'll get to some more stuff soon. Good late morning to you. It's Friday. It's been a few days, at least a couple of days. And yeah, I've just been doing a few things off camera. There's just so much to do around here, and not much that's probably going to be too interesting. But since we haven't done any time lapse or anything, I've got this project here. We've got 3 gates around the property. One has now been repainted. That's what this is I'm working on this gate, but this one's really beat up. So I figured I'd just kind of show you how bad. Okay, spider webs are one thing, but you can't really see much here. The problem is actually more on the public-facing part of the gate. I mean, for one, you can see it's been scuffed up here just from opening and closing, so I've got to deal with that. It's been painted a number of times, and if you look, that's sort of the alligator finish. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it's been partially sanded and repainted, and I think once it's got a fresh coat of paint it looks okay, but when it starts to get old it looks pretty bad. So the plan is to sand this thing down within an inch of its life. There's been a bunch of holes been drilled over the years, so I filled them in with, I went and got a 1/4-inch dowel and filled them in and then put some putty over it, and so I got to sand that down. Same thing on this side, and more of it here on the support on the frame. And the other problem is this, I'm hoping that'll come through on camera, it used to be up here. And actually had to replace this because it just got bent up and messed up, but I couldn't use the old holes, so I had to move it down. When I moved it down, I made it so that when Mom comes out to take out the garbage or something like that, she has to reach up and over, and she's a bit shorter than me, so it's a little hard to get to that. So I'm going to put something like a hook up here and then run a line down there so she can just reach up over the gate and pull it. Hopefully that makes sense. So time to get to sanding. that's disappointing. I have no idea when it shut off. And it's complaining that it's too hot already. So I'll try and do this quickly. I ended up taking a lot off. I had various problems with the sander, but I mean, having a mechanical, electric sander, whatever, just made it that much easier than trying to do it all by hand. So quite a bit. I can see that I'm going to need to, maybe I'll prime it and then have to figure out where I need to fill some stuff in and then prime again. And then once that's done, I can get the color coat on there, and I think it'll end up looking a lot better. Down below, I'm starting to debate now whether it's worth actually putting a piece of wood across the bottom. Maybe I'll just paint it first, see what it looks like, and then make that decision. So, yep, that's pretty much it. I think I'm going to clean up and call it quits for the day. Then we'll see what tomorrow brings. Good Tuesday morning to you. Yeah, that is the Swiss chard, and it is bolting. So I'm going to have to deal with that, and I've got about a million other things to deal with. But the quickie report, it's been like 4 days now. Family's dealing with, everybody's fine, but we've dealt with a heart valve replacement, a pacemaker, and just yesterday a car accident. So we've kind of been through the ringer in the last week, but everyone's okay, like I said. So we're dealing with it, and now I'm trying to get back to the garden and other stuff. So, yeah, the last I left you, we were working on the gate. So that's another one I want to deal with today. So I'm going to, first I'm going to deal with the, well, actually first, we have the impact sprinkler over here, and that I've been having trouble getting off because it's not spinning properly, and we may not need it anymore anyway. With all the changes we've made in the garden, that thing has been overspraying a bunch, and so it's just one more thing that we can correct. I've got a sprinkler head down here, and I've got like 4 more up along the curve of the wall there, behind the wall that you don't usually see. I've also got a pot that appears to have broken. So the first thing I'm going to do is try and get that off, because if I can soak it in some calcium lime rust remover, not the name brand one, but if I can soak it in that and that kind of brings it back to life, great, and we have a spare line around. I think the plan at this point is just simply to get it off and cap that part of the line. And then I'll go with the other ones, and because really all we're trying to do is get water under this big tree and the ground cover below it. So that's the plan on that. I've got the gate. I got some stuff to deal with in the garden. I may have a tomato plant that's dying. So just, we're going to get cracking here and start dealing with issues one by one. Alright, as the weed whackers go in the distance, it's time for an update. Yeah, I got the primer done on this side. The other side really only needs a little bit of spot priming. It's not bad. So that's why I didn't bother moving the camera, just a little bit here and there. Some of the exposed wood. So I think actually that's enough painting for today. Moving on to other things, I did pick some of the oranges out of this tree. They're not, according to Dad, they're not supposed to be ready until June. It's what, mid-May now? So we're a couple of weeks early, but I figured let's pull a few of them off, see if they're viable. If they're viable, it might be worth starting to pick them now and getting rid of all the splits. And who knows, maybe that'll be good for the tree to actually get the fruit off the tree so it knows that, I don't know. Anyway, did other cleaning up here and there. I need to deal with the bolting plant here, and I think I'm going to end up like tasting some of the leaves just to figure out how bitter they are, and then throw away the ones that are really bitter, which reminds me, not throwing them away so much as putting them in the compost. So let me get the buckets out of the way. Oh yeah, and there's one other thing that we did, but it's kind of dry now, so I think I'm actually going to open it up to remind myself. I'll throw some more whatever I end up tossing from there and from within the garden in general into here, and add some water and give it a good stir. That brings me back to the very beginning where I was trying to get that one sprinkler head off. I did finally manage to loosen it up, and it is now soaking in the solution, which seems to be doing a reasonable job if you can ignore the paint on my fingers. And I'm not really going to know how well we did with this. It's still got the adapter, the coupling on it, because I just couldn't get it off. So that's fine, because that'll sit on the top of a pipe somewhere if we need it. Ultimately, like I said, the plan is to go back to the ones up along the curve of the wall. Let's see if I can kind of get, well, I'll get to those and I'll show you when I get to them. I got to go pick up materials. I got to come up with a plan. I got to get materials. But in the meantime, that is capped off now. So we're good to go on that. And I don't know. We're probably getting close to the 30-minute mark. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just do a little bit more and we'll wrap this up. Okay, before you wonder, we're all over there. Bit of an adventure. I just kind of wanted to see, do they go towards each other? Do they, you know, whatever. It just kind of, sometimes I keep running into them and I'll move them off to the side, and this time I just figured, alright, let's see if they'll race each other. But anyway, I've got a bunch of clippings in there. I've got more to go grab, but I think I'm going to wrap up at this point. The next thing is for me to turn the stuff in and put some water in there. And actually, now that I think of it, I got a bucket of water that I set up for the paint and didn't end up using. So I'll not waste the water and I'll put it in there. So I think that's it for this video. We're probably long enough, and I'll just have to pick up with the gate in the next video and try and figure out if there's more trimming to do in the garden. I do have a tomato plant that we're going to have to take a look at and figure out if it's a problem or not. But there we are. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, Take care of the folks around you, and may your thumb be green.